I have no money. And I'm going to tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
She always talks about how she wants to work, but I feel as though she's worked enough.
She has people around who are yes people and allowing this to.
I have no money, and I'm going to tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you. She always talks about how she wants to work. I feel as though she's worked enough, baby. She has people around who are yes people and allowing this to continue. Guess who's finally making a comeback after disappearing from our screens for what feels like forever? Yep, it's Wendy Williams. But hold on to your hats, because the homecoming isn't as rosy as we'd hoped, because Wendy just straight up admitted that. She is broke now. Her own son, Kevin Hunter, is dropping some bombs, accusing Wendy's team of playing her like a puppet and making her their cash cow. This is coming after her team announced a documentary starring the Queen herself. But her son is not on board with this, and he thinks that his mom is being manipulated. He's not alone in this, because Wendy's brother, her ex-husband, and even a former employee, BJ Booth, are all pointing fingers at the shady dealings within team. Wendy, so does this mean that our team is the reason that she's broke? And are they deliberately making sure that Wendy doesn't get better so they can keep ripping her off? The Guardian has not done a good job of protecting my mom. My life right now, she's weak and vulnerable. And she needs to be around people who aren't going to take advantage of that. I have no friends, so after more than a year of radio silence on the Wendy Williams front, we finally got an update, and unfortunately it's not the uplifting news we were hoping. For it's not all gloom and doom though, because there's a documentary in the works, which means Wendy might be on the open up financially, and that's a silver lining. The documentary trailer recently dropped, and it pretty much confirmed our suspicions that Wendy has been going through a rough patch for quite some time. It's not just about financial struggles. It's also taken a toll on her mental well-being. Watching the trailer, you can't help but feel a pang of sadness for her, especially knowing that, hey, her breakdown is about to play out on the big screens for the world to see. Now it might seem like Wendy's troubles started after losing her show and the financial stability it brought. However, the reality is that her downward spiral began much earlier, triggered by the revelation that her then-husband, Kevin Hunter, had impregnated his side piece Shirena Hudson. The heartbreak sent Wendy into a tailspin, and she turned to alcohol, and it made her drinking problem worse. Despite the challenges, Wendy managed to pull herself together, eventually filing for divorce from Kevin. In a surprising turn of events, Kevin spilled the beans, claiming Wendy carefully planned out the whole divorce drama to settle a score and get her revenge. He said when the news was out, "I told her I would step down from the show, and Wendy told me I need to stay because I was having a kid. I stayed only to later be lined up. I got fired from management, served divorce papers, and also fired from the show, all in the same day." Wendy D. finitely enjoyed doing this, and she revealed so in an interview. Her joy was short-lived as health issues cropped up just a couple of months later, eventually leading to the cancellation of her show back. In 2021, Wendy had to step back from promoting the upcoming season of The Wendy Williams Show, citing health concerns. Fans were a bit worried, but it's a part of life. Everyone gets sick at some point. Wendy reassured them, promising to be there for the new season's premiere so fans weren't overly anxious. However, things took a turn for the worse when Wendy had to cancel her appearance at the show's premiere. She explained that her doctors hadn't cleared her due to complications with her Graves' disease. As if that weren't enough, she also contracted COVID, further worsening her health. Rumors circulated that Wendy had been admitted to a psychiatric hospital, saying that she had some mental health struggles. Then Tasha K jumped into the mix, claiming that Wendy Williams was grappling with early onset dementia. She also claimed that Wendy had relocated to a safe house away from her Manhattan apartment. Wendy done. Wendy is done. And I don't like to say this, Lionsgate got her in a safe house. Okay, she's not at her Manhattan apartment. Wendy Williams is living in a safe house away from Pap. Now she has lost all blood circulation to the bottom of her legs. and her feet, so she can't walk. Her voter goal is out of control, and she has early stages of dementia. Apart from the claims of dementia, let's also talk about Tasha K's claim that Wendy lost all blood flow to the bottom of her legs and her feet, so she can only move around in a wheelchair. She has lost all blood circulation to the bottom of her legs and her feet, so she can't walk. Now you've got to take whatever Tasha K dishes out with a grain of salt. She's swimming in heavy debt thanks to her knack for cooking up fake celebrity news. So she's not exactly your go-to for reliable info. But this whole thing about Wendy's legs did A's eyebrows, because back in September 2021, pictures of Wendy popped up online cruising around New York in a wheelchair. Enter Wendy's brother, who wasn't having any of Tasha K's claims. He slammed the idea that Wendy was dealing with dementia, setting the record straight while Wendy's physical health wasn't exactly top-notch. According to him, the family had it covered, and there was nothing wrong with Wendy's mental abilities. He said, "We haven't had any alerts like that, and I haven't seen anything like that or have had conversations with her that would lead me to believe that we routinely go up and check on Wendy. So no, we don't have any concerns concerning her mental state. It's all physical." But a few weeks after this, an article by The Sun came out that kind of painted Wendy's mental health in a bad state and hinted that her family was trying to cover up her real issues. The Sun wrote, according to sources, Wendy's manager was summoned to her penthouse apartment after she had appeared unwell during a Zoom show taping earlier in the week. Her manager and a small group of confidants arrived at the host's home to lend support to the struggling talk show queen. So word on the street is that Wendy found herself in a pretty messed up situation. Apparently, she was doing some private stuff in her room, getting a bit too touchy-feely and throwing around some vulgar comments. Witnessing this shocking scene, onlookers didn't waste a second and called for help when the medical team got there. Wendy's alleged antics escalated, and they eventually whisked her away to the hospital, where she ended up spending a few weeks. Long story short, Wendy was going through a rough patch, and her physical health was taking a toll. The show's producers tried to keep things going, bringing in guest hosts to hold down the fort for a whole season, but as the season wrapped up, it was crystal clear that Wendy wasn't making a comeback, and the show got the axe with Sherry Shepherd getting the time slot. Things continued to spiral for Wendy, and reports say she had to check into a wellness center to find her footing again. She was off the radar for quite a stretch, and when she resurfaced, the rumor mill was buzzing about the people around her putting pressure on her to get back to work. But this wasn't out of concern for her well-being, mind you, but because they saw dollar signs. Wendy not working meant no cash flow for them, so they were pushing her to find a new gig, even though she was far from being in any shape to work. And what she really needed was some encouragement to focus on getting better. Her son Kevin Jar finally spoke out about this, and he confirmed this in an interview with The Sun, claimed that she was being manipulated by people around her who should have been protecting her, and in an interview he said, "I know there are all sorts of things happening that I know in her right mind she would never agree to. As hard as it is seeing her being taken advantage of, I know that if I'm making sure she as a perso is okay, that is the important thing." So it's clear that Kevin loves his mom very much, and he's pained to see how she's being manipulated and taken advantage of. He said what's been made more important by the people around her is that while her health may not be great, she needs to keep on earning income, and in my opinion, that should not be a priority at all. And whoever has been hired, they are taking advantage of someone who needs to get better. He also claimed that people were taking advantage of her drinking, saying there are a lot of people who are very aware that there is an issue with her drinking and how that issue may be helped. But I think these people are taking advantage of it while allowing it to play out to make it look like they aren't causing the issue if they aren't providing it. They are definitely enabling a type of personality and giving her the green light to drink. This wasn't the first time that someone had pointed fingers at the people around Wendy for fueling her self-D. instructive path for their own gain. DJ Boof spilled the tea on this back in 2020 now. If you missed the memo, DJ Boof left the Wendy Williams show in 2020, leaving fans scratching their heads just to catch you up. DJ Boof had been the main DJ on the Wendy show for quite a while, so his sudden exit set off major alarm bells. Turns out he walked away because he couldn't stand watching the producers and managers stand by while Wendy took a nosedive without lifting a finger to get her the help she needed. A fan commented on Instagram and said, "Wendy, you need to stop your show and seriously get help. Your camp is just watching you spiral instead of sending help. Shame on them." Another fan commented on this and said she don't listen to them, probably why DJ Boof left the show. Now DJ Bo of himself replied to this fan and said, "Yep, exactly, and it will all come out. Y'all have no idea what's really going on, and everyone there is afraid to speak up because they don't want to lose their jobs. This is going to